Episode 9 of the Sports Geek podcast. On today's episode, we'll talk to Christine Stoffel from SEAT about the SEAT conference in Kansas City this August. We'll look at the darker side of Twitter for athletes, and we'll welcome a big player to Twitter.
Welcome to the Sports Geek podcast, the podcast built for the sports digital marketer. And now, here's your host who is actually taller and younger on the internet, Sean Callanan.
Thanks, DJ Joel. My name is Sean Callanan from Sports Geek. Welcome back to those who have been listening to the Sports Geek podcast. Thank you for downloading again and listening again. And if you're a first-time listener, thank you very much for downloading, whether you found us via iTunes or via sportsgeekhq.com or via some of our marketing efforts, or even better, a referral. My name is Sean Callanan. You can find me on Twitter at Sean Callanan and at SportsGeek. Apologies, this podcast is a little bit late. That little thing called work cropped up this week, and although I am getting more mobile on my recovery from Achilles surgery, crutches seem to make everything in your world go slower. So keep the feedback coming in on Twitter and LinkedIn, and if I do drop the ball and not get a podcast out, send me a tweet and say, come on, Sean, pull the finger out. I'd like to see that as a hashtag telling me to get back on the ball. This week on the show, first of all, I'd like to welcome, I'm very excited of having the first sponsor for the Sports Geek podcasts in SEAT Conference coming on board as the presenting partner for the next couple of weeks. If you don't know by now, I've been a big supporter of the SEAT Conference as a speaker and on the steering committee over the last 2 years, so I'm very happy to be promoting the SEAT Conference in Kansas City. So to kick off this week's podcast, I chat with good friend and founder of SEAT, Christine Stoffel. First of all, welcome Christine Stoffel. Christine is the founder of SEAT and definitely the driving force behind the SEAT conference. Looking forward to it in Kansas City this year. Christine, welcome to the Sports Geek podcast.
Well, thank you so very much, Sean. And, we appreciate all your support. Your organization and specifically you have been such a driving force behind us and helping us to learn more about social media and really getting out there and really reaching out and building, a social media group in the SEAT community. So thank you so much for you and all of your support.
Oh, no problems. So just, I've spoken about the SEAT conference a little bit on the podcast before, and people know that I've been to the last two. Can you give everyone a little bit of a background, the beginnings of SEAT? Because this is first of all, what number SEAT conference is this, and where was your humble beginnings?
Absolutely. So this is the 7th year that SEAT has a conference, and what's really interesting about this is it started very simply 7 years ago when I was the vice president CIO for the Phoenix Coyotes hockey team. It had been my first introduction into the sports entertainment world. That came from basically a Fortune 20 company. And coming into sports new, I wasn't sure, how, what other teams were doing with, what their projects were, how they implemented things, who they were using, their team structure, their organizational structure, things like that. So I started reaching out and just started building just a small consortium of sports teams. We started talking on a regular basis, and then within a couple of months, it just kind of brought everybody together in Scottsdale, Arizona, and that was 7 years ago. We fast forward 7 years, so 23 teams showed up 7 years ago, and it was just a small group, really CIOs, vice presidents of IT, really just talking and sharing our experiences and really moving forward in thought leadership and innovation. And every year it continued to grow. They kept asking me to continue moving this forward and putting it on. We now fast forward 7 years, and this year we're expecting anywhere between 400 to 450 people to attend this year's conference in Kansas City. So needless to say, it has grown exponentially. The program has become very dynamic and fun and deep and relevant to the industry. So it's been really fun to be a part of this and to be a part of such an amazing industry and watch this grow for 7 years.
So again, for the people who don't know, I was lucky enough to speak at 2011 in Los Angeles, and at that point, the SEAT conference was done in conjunction with the guys at Association of Luxury Suite Directors conference in LA, and it was a very, very successful conference. But you've really gone through a bit of a transformation at having that really strong CIO and IT core to really expand the depth of the conference and the tracks offered, especially last year in Boston and again in this year in including CRM and, from my space, the social and the digital and the mobile space. How have you seen both the SEAT community and the teams embracing that? Going from that one standalone conference, which was a really big move for you guys last year, and then also to embrace these new tracks, and how's the response been to that from last year?
The response has been phenomenal, and you're right. So that's something that I kind of missed in my explanation is it has grown. SEAT has grown from being just a IT CIO consortium to the last couple of years. We've moved it forward into more CRM, database marketing, social media, digital media. So it's now what we're calling as the wheelhouse of sports and these groups within sports organizations and entertainment venues as well as colleges that are leveraging technology and leveraging, not just the core technologies like Wi-Fi, DAS, mobile, but now, we're really trying to get everyone to talk together and collaborate together. So we're bringing together CIOs and CMOs and CRM and database marketing leaders and social media leaders to have conversations together. Granted, we do have 3 separate tracks, but there are multiple sessions throughout the conference that we're bringing everyone together with case study presentations and very relevant, deep discussions around how everyone needs to be working together in order to improve the fan experience in their organizations and really across the industry, and how we can move the needle forward, how we as a group can be more innovative for our fans, and also for the organizations, how do we monetize the social media and the CRM and the database and the marketing efforts to create new revenue streams for the organizations. So we definitely SEAT has transcended from just a core CIO group to really leveraging across the organizations in multiple disciplines.
Yeah, and from my point of view, going to the 2011 one in LA, and I was in a really bitter battle with our good friend Shane Harmon over the mayorship of the Lakers locker room. He still won't forgive me for stealing the mayorship the day after he left. But it was really good having that discussion with the what we would sort of the core IT guys, and at heart, for 20 years I was a geek before I was sports geek. But it's now good to see guys who are the VPs of IT, the guys that are running out these big screens like Kevin at the Indiana Pacers for their stadium, and we've talked to guys like Todd, who's now at the Grizzlies, around the rollout that he had to do at New Orleans and now at the Grizzlies. But having the CRM guys and the marketing guys who are crying out for the Wi-Fi access at stadiums and being able to activate at the stadiums, a lot of the times these guys don't get that chance to have those discussions because everyone's so busy with their role at the with the team. But at SEAT, it might be at a joint session where everyone gets to look at the bigger issue, but also the networking events, which is one of the things that when people say, why do you go to SEAT, I say, well, Christine and Chris Dill, who is former CEO from the Trailblazers, is your cohort with SEAT. The networking events that you do for SEAT are just as valuable because you get to mix with other CIOs, but also other CRM guys, and start saying, well, we really need to work together. What are the networking events you've got planned in Kansas City for August?
So this year, Sunday evening, every year we have our reception networking. It's kind of the meet and greet where everybody, that hasn't seen each other in a year gets to see each other. And, of course, we always have, usually another 75 to 100 new people that come in on Sunday nights, and we get to talk and meet and greet and just really, just kind of get to know each other again. And then Monday night this year, we are going to we actually have a doubleheader. So we are going to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're doing a technology tour. We've partnered with the Chiefs and their organization and several of their technology providers, and we're getting a really good, deep tour as well as an understanding of what they've done from a technology perspective, how they've deployed it, what they're doing different, and how they're improving the fan experience. And we're going to have some receptions, some appetizers, drinks, and a tour there. Then we're walking right next door, and we're going to the Kansas City Royals baseball game. And this is, when we do things at games, we don't just buy tickets that sit everybody in seats. This is we've got several of the balconies for our group. So this is really a true networking. This is a walk around, grab a drink, grab some food, and walk around and meet and greet and talk and network and enjoy the game, enjoy the whole experience. And so that's going to be a really fun evening. Then Tuesday night, Sporting Innovations is a phenomenal group, and they have really come to the table with a great idea, and they are presenting us with a Tuesday evening. First, we're going to their headquarters, and we're going to see what Sporting Innovations is doing from a technology perspective, and they really have a 360 view of the fan. And we're going to get to see every piece of the technology that they're using, how they're using it in their 7-story headquarters, which is really kind of a data center. And then at the top, which has an overview of the entire downtown Kansas City, everybody gets to kind of have some drinks and gather up there for a little bit. And then we're going to go to a dinner event that Sporting KC is also, Sporting Innovation is also hosting. A complete dinner event for us that we have a lot of surprises that evening that will be a lot of fun, very, very different and unique experience for all of our attendees at the conference. So we've got some really fun things planned from a evening networking perspective.
Well, yeah, even last year, going to historic Fenway Park, you wouldn't have thought that it would have that much technology, being an older stadium. But all the true geeks were given a little bit of a private tour by Steve Conley from the Red Sox to show all the tech fit out that was well and truly hidden away at Fenway, but just shows you the tech that's behind stadiums like that. I'm really looking forward to checking out the Sporting KC stadium. It is one of the most tech-savvy stadiums, and as a sports geek, I'm really excited about that. So, the networking events alone for mine you've always just completely knocked it out of the park. So it will be good, and having a guy like Rob Heinemann from Sporting KC, I was lucky enough to hear him speak at 2011 in Los Angeles. So it'll be interesting to see him talk about his organisation, but take you through how they went around designing that stadium and some of the things that they've done there. So first of all, so thanks a lot for coming on. Can you let us know? You can look at the agenda at the C Consortium website, but who are you looking forward to hearing from a speaking point of view, and some of the people you're looking forward to hearing from at the conference?
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to provide you first round of being able to promote this. I've been working with the Denmark Olympic organization, Olympic Committee, and they have agreed today, and I have not even posted it on the agenda yet. So I will be posting that this week on the agenda. But they have agreed that they are coming to SEAT, and they have done some amazing things in social media with the Denmark Olympic Committee, the Denmark sports organizations, and they are coming to SEAT, and they're going to give us a case study presentation on how they're leveraging and monetizing social media and how they've done some new brand awareness and what they're doing different in Denmark than anywhere else in the world. So this is brand new today, and it will be going up on the SEAT agenda very soon. So we're very excited to hear what they have to say.
Terrific. And, and so the other thing is, with the expansion of, I guess, the conference now to go from that CIO, CRM and digital guys, how many are you seeing an uplift of the regulars that have been coming to SEAT now, bringing along their digital guy and bringing along their CRM guy? I mean, obviously the CRM guys were new last year. There was a really strong response from the CRM community to be able to discuss what they've been doing, some really good discussions, and it was actually good to see people jumping cross streams. I might be a digital guy, but I want to hear what the CRM guys have got to say. Are you seeing more teams bringing one or two more people along?
Absolutely. Actually, this year we're seeing teams are bringing 2 and 3 people because we do have 3 full tracks. We have a CIO track, the social media track, and then a CRM database marketing track. Teams bringing enough people so that they can really divide and conquer, and which is really awesome. That's really what we wanted. We wanted teams to bring multiple people. So not only are they in these sessions and they're learning their own, industry and their own, and they're learning from their peers, but then when we have the super sessions that you are running several of our super sessions, and our super sessions have the entire SEAT audience, and that's where we really get a lot of collaboration and we get a lot of innovation and thought leadership, because it's really case studies, it's discussions that cross all boundaries of the sports industry as well as the sports technologies. And things like NASCAR and HP have done some phenomenal things with their social media and their fan engagement center. So they're doing a case study presentation. We've got Major League Baseball. We've got the Barclays Group and the Warriors Group doing case study presentations of what they've done and how they have, and really that their case study presentations are bringing in that the CIO is going to be part of that, the CRM, the database marketing, as well as the social media. They're all working together to do case study presentations so that they can demonstrate how their organization have pulled it all together and how they're working internally together. So, and that's really the theme around this year is, working together, collaborating together, and showing how technology can bring in, all of these components to enhance an organization's brand awareness as well as the fan experience and revenues.
Yep.
Really, really exciting program.
And you have got, I'm just at the moment checking out your registration page. So you have got a discounted offer where people can get 3 people in for the price of 2 or 4 for the price of 3. So, if you're going to bring along 2 people, you may as well bring along that third one and be effectively allowed to have more people collaborate on those things. So if you've already got your CEO coming along and your CRM guys coming along, it makes sense for your digital guy to come along as well. What we all do in this space is look at what other people do, steal it, and then tweak it for our own team. So there'll be plenty of that on offer, because there's a real strong case study focus of how teams are doing it, whether it be at the pro level, with lots of attendance from the NBA. Major League Baseball, NFL, and NHL, but also there's a really strong presence, and I felt definitely that last year there was a really strong college stream there as well. A lot of the guys attending from NCAA level and seeing what they can do both from an IT perspective, but then also activating around their stadiums.
Yeah, in fact, the college group is one of our largest growth groups this year. We've really reached out to a lot of the Pac-12, the Pac-10, the NCAA, and really kind of driven some discussions there, bringing them to SEAT. So we've actually, from last year, we're actually, at this point, we have tripled our attendance from the college teams. which we are really excited about. And, we're looking to really kind of build something special for the college industry, just like we're building for the Major League Baseball, the professional sports, because college growth, the growth in college technology and how they're leveraging it and how they're using it is really on the cusp right now. And we think that SEAT has an opportunity to provide a lot of value to the college athletics groups and college technology groups that they are not getting anywhere else. So we're really excited about the large group that we have from the college industry coming this year, as well as, obviously our social media group is phenomenal. And we've already tripled the size of our CRM attendance that was last year. Last year we had smaller rooms. It was our first time to do a CRM, kind of a proof of concept program this year. And last year it was standing room only. This year we have tripled our attendance already for the registrations, and very, very excited about all three of these programs. It's the biggest conference that SEAT has put on to date, and probably I would say the most exciting content. I'm wanting to go to every single session, but obviously I can't be in 3 different places simultaneously. So I'm a little disappointed that I can't see everything, but I'm definitely going to, try and catch as much as I can. This year we're also going to be recording some of the sessions. We're going to get some pre-approvals, and we're going to do some recording so that, the people that missed the conference can maybe see some of those sessions afterwards. So we're really excited about some of the things that we're doing, as well as launching a couple of new technology startup companies. This is something that SEAT has really taken on. We started doing this last year. We're helping to launch some of these new, innovative, small technology companies. And so we're bringing a couple of them to the table this year. And we're actually going to be using some of their technology throughout the conference and really showcasing it and creating some really unique experiences for our attendees. So the program, from the networking aspect, the events, to the content and the sessions and the case studies, to leveraging and using really cool, innovative technology, and of course our sponsors. We really have some of the best sponsors ever this year, and they've really stepped up and helped us build a really fantastic program along with our steering committee. And so it's just really exciting. I mean, as you can tell, I'm thrilled. I can't wait for it to come in 3 weeks. So yeah, we're almost there.
Well, that's good. I mean, that was the only you just raised the last point. I'm very thankful to be on the steering committee, and I guess for mine, if people are wavering and thinking, should I be coming along, I suggest that they should be checking out the steering committee, the roster that's there, because they're the people that have put in the hard work to say, Christine, this is what we want to talk about, this is what we want to learn. They've really been the driving force around the content and the panels for the conference, and there's a real community feel, even to the point where we have those morning sessions where it's just the teams. There's no vendors, and there's some frank discussions about the issues facing teams and discussing those kind of things. So definitely check out the steering committee. I can vouch for a lot of them. They're all good mates of mine now after 2 years at SEAT. But it really is driven by those guys, isn't it?
It is, and we are so thankful for, individuals like yourself, Sean, that participate on our steering committee. And, if you look at the steering committee, it is truly the who's who across the industry. These are thought leaders. These are innovation leaders. And they're everywhere from CRM, to marketing executives, from teams and leagues. I mean, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Hawks, International Speedway, NASCAR, Madison Square Garden, NBA, NHL, NFL, Comcast, Arizona State University. I mean, you name it. We have got a standout steering committee that has truly, over the last 11 months, built this program. We partner very, very closely, and we continue to have conversations with our steering committee members as well as all of the leagues, and heavily engaged everyone, because this, I look at SEAT it started out for my peers and myself 7 years ago. And I continue to keep going forward. It's really for my peers. It's for the industry. It's for everyone out there. And so that's why it's their conference. It's your conference. And, having their input to create, the programs and the sessions and the discussions, it's all of them. I mean, they have fed us the information. They're helping us to create this. So really, it is a program for them and their peers. That's what makes it so relevant and so content rich. And that's why it's so exciting this year. We have over 60 steering committee members that are spread across 3 different tracks and over 37 sessions going on at the conference. It's deep, it's rich, it's fun, exciting. So yeah, these steering committee members, we could not do what we're doing without them. Their input is phenomenal.
Well, thank you very much. We could talk about SEAT for a lot longer, but we will in a couple of weeks' time in Kansas City. I'll most likely will have a few more of those steering committee members on the podcast in the next couple of weeks in the lead up to the conference, and I'm actually even contemplating running a live Sports Geek podcast with a few of the steering committee members while I'm in Kansas City, while we are sharing a few ideas around the round table. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm looking forward to making my way over there. I will be doing my best to get through the airport security with a moon boot and crutches. That'll be a fun experience, but you'll be able to follow that on Twitter. But I'll make every endeavour to be there, and I'm looking forward to it. So I will see you then, and I'll share all the links about the conference in the show notes, and I will see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Sean, and I look forward to seeing you in Kansas City in a couple of weeks. See you soon.
Go to sportsgeekhq.com for more sports digital marketing resources.
Thanks again for Christine for coming on the Sports Geek podcast. Don't forget to check out the SEAT site by following the link sportsgeekhq.com/SEAT2013. You can also follow SEAT Conference on Twitter @SEAT Conference, and the hashtag will be SEAT2013. But I strongly suggest, check out the show notes, sportsgeekhq.com/9. There's that 3 for 2 offer, the 4 for 3 offer. And definitely, if you want to know who's going to be there, the steering committee are the guys that put the conference together, and some really good quality individuals from the sports, digital, CEO, CRM space that will be in attendance. On this week's episode of Halftime, we discussed the darker side of Twitter from a post that I saw from Public Shaming. I'll put the link in the show notes, but here's our discussion on some of the stuff that athletes have to deal with on Twitter.
Interesting topic today, just because Twitter is taking the world by storm. But it's not all roses and chockies, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, we have talked its praises before and said how it is great around sports and great around, live sports, and that's where it's really thrived.
Yep.
People have said, Twitter has saved live TV and TV in general. People are tuning into their TV shows because they're seeing people tweet. But, I think a lot of credit for Twitter's growth has to go back to sports because, sports is where people are using it the most. The amount of tweets that are TV related are sports related. The Super Bowl is, one of the big ones. The NBA Finals, smashed it. And the same goes here, with Origin and those kind of things, the Wallabies, the Socceroos recently. But there is a bit of a darker, ugly side in the fact that, especially from an athlete point of view, in the amount of, vitriol and just bad tweets. I mean, there's no, I could use expletives, but I won't do it on the radio. But, the amount of rubbish and attacks, personal attacks, that athletes get is just disgusting. I mean, and
no greater example on the weekend in the Wimbledon final with the champ, Marion Bartley. And you tweeted me a link, or you emailed me a link earlier this afternoon, and I clicked on it just before when you came in. And the conversation, the discussion around Marion Bartley from the Twitterverse that have been highlighted here, and there's hundreds of them, is just horrific.
Yeah, and so, everyone has their own reasons for why they want to, barrack for a particular player, but why they feel the need to attack both, just in their general stream, saying, I don't like Marion Bartoli because of this, and then having and then on top of that, the people that have the I don't want to say courage, because I don't think they've got any courage at all, but people that flat out mention them, and it's going to be in the Twitter mentions of Marion Bartoli after winning Wimbledon, where I'm absolutely sure there'll be a lot of people congratulating her, but why do they feel the need to attack an athlete? What gives them that right? And there's a bit of I've got my account, I can do whatever I want.
Yep. No doubt.
People playing that free speech card, but I really just have real trouble with figuring out why people do it, and it is a real problem for athletes. We've helped athletes try to manage it, and you do see the media blow up and going, oh, why did that athlete have a go back at that person? They've got to show restraint. Well, if you get to see some of the abuse that athletes get at all levels, and it doesn't have to be a superstar, it doesn't have to be an athlete that puts himself out there.
Yep.
Any and all of them will get their whacks, and so quite rightfully, sometimes you say, well, they should have a go back.
But
then you have the cases like Michael Owen when he retired. When I was doing some training with the Socceroos, I said, as an athlete, you really can't have a go back at these people because you don't know who they are. You don't know if it's just someone who's trying to be smart or thinks they're smart or whatever, or if it's a 15-year-old kid that's just a little bit messed up and not quite understanding the world. And so if their idol comes back and says, get lost, you loser, you don't know what reaction that might cause. And Michael Owen, when he retired, put out a tweet saying retired, and someone said, what have you done, you spud, or something along that line.
Yep.
And he replied, so, what have you done in your life? And the guy replied, well, I'm a double amputee war veteran. And, Michael Owen copped it for that. But, all he was doing was responding to someone having a go at him. So you don't, from an athlete point, you're in an absolute no-win situation. So, as a fan, what you've got to do is, you block and report and say, look, that's not on. Like if you have someone as your follower and you see someone do this, say, no, it's not on. Block, report, and tell them on their bike.
It's a good message. Be vigilant on the Twitterverse because it can be a nasty place. It can be a great place too and a lot of fun. I expect it to be a lot of fun during the Ashes as well. It
certainly will, and hopefully no one will be tweeting at the Ashes because we don't want her to get upset like she did last time. So go with hashtag Return the Urn.
Return the Urn on the Twitterverse tonight. If you can find out more about all this sort of stuff at sportsgeekhq.com. Good luck with your Achilles, mate. See you next week.
Cheers, mate.
Find all Sports Geek podcasts at sportsgeekhq.com/SGP.
One thing I didn't get time to discuss on halftime was what Twitter is currently trying to do to address this issue, especially for athletes and celebrities on Twitter, because, as I said on the show, there is a chance that athletes will walk away from Twitter if the experience becomes so poor. So VITs, or very important tweeters, are vital to Twitter in their eyes, at least, as they see as vital to keep content moving on their platform. I don't necessarily subscribe to that theory that they are the be-all and end-all and the important part of their platform, but I do think it is important to make them feel safe. So there is talk that they are working on a system that potentially would work similar to a Google Gmail spam filter. So if you're an athlete, you'll be able to see the engagements and the mentions that you want to see and that people you follow and other athletes, because you want to have that byplay. But that straight-out troll behaviour will be marked by an algorithm and be put into a potential spam folder, and potentially might make the experience of Twitter a little bit better for some of these athletes and celebrities that are copying this left, right, and centre. Which leads me to another player that would have copped a fair bit over the weekend or over the week in making his decision to leave the Lakers. Dwight Howard, if you weren't following the free agent circus, did decide to leave the Lakers, but I don't think from a digital point of view, and I'm not worried about where he should have gone and all those kind of things, I don't think from a digital point of view he could have handled it worse. Not only did he go and tell the Houston Rockets that he was going to join them but not release it, and then fly back to Los Angeles to do the right thing and tell the Lakers in person, but he pretty much let all this speculation and allowed all these people to have pot shots at him for 3 hours, saying he's changing his mind, whereas had he taken the decision in the same way that LeBron did and just done it online, and said, I'm going to Houston, and done it in a manner with one single tweet. Unlike when he actually did do it, he took a fan's a piece of artwork, changed his avatar, and then used tweet longer. He couldn't even get his decision out in under 140 characters. So, if I was Dwight, he should have been a little bit more succinct and got the message out quicker, and then he would have at least owned the message a little bit. And then the other big news from Twitter's point of view is that Man United finally joined Twitter this week, and those who were watching online saw how quickly they amassed followers, and they did that because they posted it on their Facebook page to say they were on Twitter. They also sent out an email to their email list, and so after 12 hours, as I've recorded this, they're at a bit over 300,000 Twitter followers, which bodes well because they'll be coming to Australia next week to play the A-League All-Stars. So I expect the A-League to get a little bit of bump in traffic now that Man U is on Twitter. So it only bodes well for their visit and for fans following Man United to get a little bit more content from them. But there is a lot of pressure as they did wait to join Twitter and said that they weren't going to join Twitter until they saw the commercial viability of it. There are people saying that they waited and studied everybody. Now they know how to do it. My feeling is it's much better to learn from your own mistakes. You can't just simply learn by looking at what everyone else is doing. So, yes, the world of sports business is watching Man United's every single tweet. I'm going to reserve judgment until they at least get to 100 tweets. There have been a few early calls saying they're doing it terribly, but you really can't judge them in under 10 tweets. That's it for this week. You can find me on Twitter at Sean Callanan and at SportsGeek. Please send me a tweet with your thoughts on this podcast or any of the earlier ones. You can leave a voicemail question at sportsgeekhq/SGP. Thanks again to Seek Conference as presenting partner of the Sports Geek podcast. I look forward to catching up with those who will be attending in a couple of weeks' time in Kansas City. This week's Sounds of the Game comes from our very own Jamie Murphy, who attended the British and Irish Lions game against the Wallabies at Etihad Stadium. Wallabies did get the win there, but the Lions took out the series 2-1, and the Wallabies will have to wait for revenge until 2025. Until next week, I hope your team wins on the weekend. Cheers.
Please leave a review on iTunes. Go to sportsgeekhq.com/iTunes. Like the Sports Geek podcast? Find us on facebook.com/sportsgeek. Thanks for listening to the Sports Geek podcast.